केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The fight over the idea of India has found a new battleground. New York, the city that prides itself on being a global capital of free expression, now has a mayor saying he doesn't support a private gathering of nearly 5,000 people. Just why? Because its principal speaker is RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat. And Zohran Mamdani finds the Sang's vision exclusionary. It's incredibly troubled by its rise and its deep opposition to it.
The vision of India that I was taught by my family, and the one that I grew up being very familiar with, was of a pluralistic society, of a secular republic that believed in the belonging of each and every person who was from India. It has been incredibly troubling to see the rise of a movement that is predicated on an exclusionary vision of any country, frankly. And so it is one that I find myself in deep opposition to. I don't support the rally, but I don't know if the city has any jurisdiction on canceling a private event.
But here's the irony. Mohan Bhagwat is in the US for an event whose stated theme is universal oneness. And Mamdani, who has repeatedly championed the First Amendment and the right to dissent, is publicly opposing the gathering. You just heard him. Did you hear any facts being cited for branding the RSS exclusionary? How did a self-proclaimed pluralist decide which ideas deserve his opposition before they were even articulated on the stage? And by almost implying that he might have banned the gathering if it were under his jurisdiction, who exactly is being exclusionary? And that is precisely where the political counterattack is coming from now.
देखो, हमें तो इनको जो लोग विरोध कर रहे हैं भागवत जी के कार्यक्रम का, उनको मैं बिना मांगी एक ही सलाह दूंगा, उनके कार्यक्रम में चले जाएं। उनके अंदर जो कंफ्यूजन का कीड़ा दिमाग जो है वो हिचकोले ले रहा है, वो ठीक हो जाएगा।
जनता और 5,000 से 10,000 लोग जो मेडिसिन स्क्वायर पे आएंगे, वो बिल्कुल पीस लविंग यूनिटी के बारे में बात करने वाले हैं और सुनने वाले हैं, जो आदरणीय भागवत जी बात करने वाले हैं। ऐसे में ममदानी का इस तरह का स्टेटमेंट जो है वो डिविसिव स्टेटमेंट है और कहीं न कहीं लोगों को उत्तेजित करने वाला स्टेटमेंट है।
On test now is not just the RSS or Mohan Bhagwat, but Zohran Mamdani and his definition of pluralism. Because look at his record. When Mahmoud Khalil, a Palestinian activist who tried to rationalize October 7 terrorist attack on Israel and refused to condemn Hamas, was detained, Mamdani became an empathetic defender of his liberty. He insisted that every New Yorker must be able to exercise his First Amendment rights without fear. When it came to riot-accused Umar Khalid, Mamdani didn't just rush to judgment. He met Khalid's parents, wrote personally to him, told him, "We are all thinking of you." This for a man who has been denied bail, as the Supreme Court found that prima facie he played a central and formative role in the Delhi riots conspiracy. So notice the extraordinary elasticity of Mamdani's pluralism. For Khalil, defend the First Amendment. For Khalid, empathy and solidarity. But for Mohan Bhagwat, when he arrives in New York for a lawful gathering, and suddenly the mayor has already decided that the movement leads to being exclusionary. But Mamdani can still plead distance. He lives thousands of miles away. His understanding of the RSS can be contested and maybe, hopefully, corrected if he has an open mind. But what explains the Indian opposition? Listen in to what they have to say.
नफरत बोने वाले लोग हैं ये, इन्होंने समाज में नफरत बोई है, अब नफरत ही इनको मिल रही है, जो बोगे वही तो काटोगे।
न्यूयॉर्क में हो या अमेरिका के पूरे एरिया में हो, इनको उन लोगों ने तो ऑलरेडी आतंकवादी संगठन डिक्लेयर कर चुके हैं, लेकिन अब मोहन भागवत जी विरोध होने के बाद भी वहां क्यों गए, ये एक संशोधन का हिस्सा बन चुका है।
Because these are leaders who live in India. They know the RSS is a lawful organization, and yet you just heard sitting Congress leader claim that the RSS has been designated a terrorist organization in America. No fact cited, no qualification, just a blatantly false allegation presented almost as if it's a fact. What is this if not deliberate distortion? But not everyone in the opposition is willing to play along. Shiv Sena, Uddhav Thackeray group, Anand Dubey says, domestic political differences are one thing, but when an Indian leader travels abroad, the political battle should not become an invitation to denigrate him overseas.
तो ये ममदानी हो या जो भी हो, उनको ये समझना चाहिए कि हमारे भारत के किसी एक व्यक्ति का विरोध करना मतलब देश को आप चेतावनी दे रहे हैं। तो ये नया भारत है, ये ऐसे चेतावनियों से डरने वाला नहीं है। हम यही कहेंगे, हमारे लाख मतभेद हैं आपसी राजनीति में, लेकिन बात देश की आती है, बात देश से कोई हमारा नेता किसी विदेश जाता है, उस पर अगर कोई अपमान करना चाह रहा है तो हमारा अपमान होता है।
And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings me to the legitimate question on the Newshour tonight. After years of campaigns like dismantle Hindutva and target anything linked to it, isn't it time to dismantle the double standards around it? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Joining the debate on the Newshour tonight, Pradeep Bhandari, national spokesperson of the BJP. Also joining me this evening, Prafulla Ketkar, editor of Organizer, mouthpiece of the RSS. Also joining us this evening, Sushant Sareen. He is the senior fellow at the ORF. On the other side, we have Faizan Kidwai, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Somnath Bharti, former minister in the Aam Aadmi Party government of Delhi. Also joining me this evening is Sanjay Jha, senior Congress leader, and to him I ask the first question. I want to ask you, Sanjay Jha, why does the Congress find poster boys who are neither true to their Indian origin, nor true to their American existence? When in America, Zohran Mamdani is actually supporting and seen with an imam who is called somebody who has links to the conspiracy of the World Trade Center's bombing. He is somebody who finds Mahmood Khalil, the student from Columbia University, who justified literally the October 7th massacre in Israel, and who is a supporter of Hamas. Mamdani is also somebody who has a bleeding heart for Omar Khalid, despite the Indian Supreme Court finding him a central part of the conspiracy in the Delhi riots. And the Congress justifies him only because this time it's his shoulder that is being used to shoot at the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat. Is that really the scope of Congress's politics?
Navika, good evening. I don't think I want to make any further comments on Zohran Mamdani, because I realize that the RSS and the BJP are very upset with him because he called Mr. Modi a war criminal, like he referred to Benjamin Netanyahu.
Wouldn't you be as an Indian? Why should only RSS and the BJP? No. If you are insinuating that the Prime Minister of this country, despite his exoneration and his clean chit from the Supreme Court, should be called a war criminal, that Sanjay Jha, I think you are not only cynical, I think you're not even respecting your own nation.
Okay, but listen, Navika, you may equate Mr. Modi with the great country of India. I don't. Mr. Modi was denied
human. He's the Prime Minister of this country. What are you saying, Sanjay Jha? I object.
Can I speak?
You are saying Prime Minister is not associated with the great nation of India. What are you saying, Sanjay Jha?
India is greater than any individual. India is greater than any individual, even a prime minister. Anyway,
sorry.
Can I answer?
I'm sorry. No, there is no anyway, Sanjay Jha. There is no anyway. I just think this is the most obnoxious statement, and let me get Sushant Sareen. Sushant Sareen, can Sanjay Jha be allowed to go on in the name of freedom of speech by saying what he just said about the Prime Minister and about India?
Well, in the name of freedom of speech, he can say what he wants to say. But if he was to actually start defaming people, and somebody was to sue him for making a wrongful comment, then of course he can be sued. That, under the Indian judicial system, that is a possibility. Sanjay is overextending himself, and clearly what he's saying is against the facts. Yes, they refused him the visa, and yes, there has been a kind of a demonization which has happened, for which actually there are people, to use the new term, Dimagi Naxals in the Indian media, who were responsible for it. But that's besides the point. I think what is important is that for somebody like a Zohran Mamdani, who feels no compunctions in meeting people from Jamaat-e-Islami, which is the mothership of terrorism, who feels no compunctions of meeting people who justify 9/11 attacks, who feels no compunction in meeting with all kinds of despicable elements, for him to suddenly stand and talk about Mr. Bhagwat. Look, you can disagree with Mr. Bhagwat, you can disagree with his philosophy, you can disagree with his ideology. But to label him as some kind of a war criminal or something like that, I think that's bizarre. Secondly, if you're talking about exclusionism and, somebody who's following very exclusivist policies, I think at least from his public statements, whatever Mr. Bhagwat has said, he has never said that Muslims are not a part of India. In fact, he goes on the other extreme and he says, I consider Muslims to be part of the Hindu ethos because they're born in India. India is Hindustan, something to that effect. I don't exactly remember what he said, but something to that effect. I don't think he has ever excluded Muslims from being part of India. Now, if Muslims do not want to be part of RSS, that is their problem, although RSS does have an organization or at least a cell where there are people from the minority communities who are involved. So to label Mr. Bhagwat in kind of scurrilous terms that some people have used against him, I think that's unfair. But again, we are living in toxic times. You can attach any label to anybody, pick up a few facts from here and there and, misinterpret them, misrepresent them.
We live in toxic times is the key word, Sushant Sareen, and Sanjay Jha, I come back to you. Do you want to rephrase your statement? Not connecting Prime Minister with the great nation of India when he happens to be the Prime Minister of the country. Do you want to reconsider at least the formation of that sentence, Sanjay Jha? Because normally I find you a reasonable man. Critical of government, which is your right to be, but to say that you do not attach or connect the Prime Minister with the nation is objectionable, Sanjay Jha. It's objectionable.
Navika, you did not even let me speak when you interrupted me. And if you don't want me to speak, I can happily leave your program and return on another day. Let me finish my point and please do not interrupt me here. Number one. RSS's Dattatreya Bhosale went to the USA. You know what he said there? He tried to explain that we are not like the Ku Klux Klan. You can imagine the comparison that the RSS is being done with the white supremacist movement, which lynched black Americans, call them African Americans if you wish, in broad daylight. And we know that lynching happens even in India. I would request you to read M.J. Akbar, a BJP member of parliament's book, Riots After Riots, where he says that the RSS hates the minorities, the RSS hated Gandhiji, RSS supported the Brits in the freedom struggle. This is the BJP member of parliament. It cannot be denied, that there is an institution, and I will call it the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, that has asked for a ban on the RSS, that says that the RSS is not just exclusionary, it has violent manifestations. These are on record. I also want to ask, because you have an RSS representative on your program, I would like him to explain why is it not a registered entity and who funds this organization? Where do they get so much money from? I haven't seen their office in Delhi, but I believe
your worry is only about money, but you will give a clean sheet and you will use Zohran Mamdani as a poster boy. You will overlook his association with those who are supporters and sympathizers of terror outfits, but you will find fault with RSS. Prafulla Ketkar, please respond to Sanjay Jha, because funding is the biggest problem that they have with the RSS.
See, I can explain to a person who wants to understand. If they don't want to understand, not a single penny is accepted from the government or outside India. It's only funded by RSS Swayamsevak through Guru Dakshina. It is as simple as this. As far as RSS run organizations and trusts are concerned, all of them are registered and their every year statement is audited, and Mr. Sanjay or whoever is, teaching him this lesson are free to, verify this. As far as this particular issue is concerned, I fail to understand why we are giving, Navika, so much of importance to a person whom the 9/11 victims' families are not even ready to accept at the ceremony. The person who is seen by them as divisive, person who is seen as Islamist, I really pity Congress and its politics. They can fight with Prime Minister Modi and BJP when they want to with RSS. I have no issues. The question is whom they are standing for. They are standing for the person who said, globalize the intifada. This is the person whom they find the poster boy of secularism. Come on. So I don't want to go into it. The simple reason is the question was asked to Mr. Dattatreya Uzbale on racism. He gave an answer with a parallel which US can understand. As far as Sarasangachalak Dr. Mohan Bhagwat is concerned, he is going to speak to the Indian community on the concept of universal oneness. What is the issue in this? That is the fundamental Hindu philosophy that Gandhiji talked about, that Swami Vivekananda talked about, that every person going outside India talked about, that we essentially believe that everything is one, the diversity is apparent, external. So we should not, the person who believes that only one particular faith has a right to exist and all others are kafirs, they are secular. The person who is going to speak, and he is not going there to preach anybody, he is not going there to convert anybody, he is having a civilizational dialogue, one with Indian community, with a couple of think tanks, and some eminent people who have invited him to speak. So what is the issue? Why freedom of speech has been denied to
Absolutely, and that is the core of the problem that the opposition parties in India seem to have. And let me ask you, Mr. Somnath Bharti, aapko kya dikkat hai? Do you agree with a man who is preaching pluralism but practicing exclusionism? If the US government has given a visa to Mohan Bhagwat ji, if he is going there to address an audience, if he is speaking on oneness, he has the right to speak. Why is Mr. Mamdani becoming the shoulder for the opposition to fire from on the RSS? He has the right to speak as much as you do, and the country has allowed him to do so. Why is the opposition picking up from the man who actually talks about pluralism but is spreading hate, did not even have the guts to condemn a hate crime in his own constituency where he is a mayor? Because the person who killed in a hate crime two people, a Jew and an Asian, the person who killed them, said something invoking another religion. We don't know if they belong to that religion, but Mamdani did not have the guts to condemn that hate crime. And you're talking about Mamdani, lynching, this, that, and the other. Somnath Bharti ji?
Navika ji, I was very patiently listening to my friends on your show. See, Mamdani and Mohan Bhagwat, whatever has been said by Mohan Bhagwat ji, whatever has been said by Mamdani, I represent neither. The problem is, for BJP or for some followers of BJP or supporters of BJP, India is BJP, BJP is India. Hinduism is RSS, RSS is Hinduism. That's not true. So RSS is not Hinduism and BJP is not India and Narendra Modi ji is not people of, representing people of India across or every individual of India. We need to understand, and the fairer thing would have been that he should have played Mamdani's statement. Because he did not say that I'm going to cancel the event of Mohan Bhagwat ji.
Oh, he's not.
He was asked.
He cannot.
Why are you not cancelling?
He cannot. He does not have the right, sir.
He is not doing any favor, Somnath ji.
No.
He cannot. He cannot. As a mayor of New York,
Could you please permit me to complete the statement?
He would have.
I did not intervene at all.
No,
Sir, I did not intervene at all. Please permit me to complete.
I just corrected
a counter
you.
argument. All right. So what I'm saying.
Corrected your statement.
All right, so okay, please permit me. Then you can possibly quote using whatever you are trying to correct me. Now imagine back in our country, there have been n number of events wherein RSS goons, BJP goons have entered into those private events, dismantled those private events venues. Recently, when Asutosh Ranka had gone to Jaipur to see a dilapidated school, he was attacked. He was attacked violently. Look at this. Look at this. What is this? Is this democracy?
No,
democracy is
it's wrong.
That whatever
it's wrong, but it's also wrong when Taslima Nasreen holds. No, it's also wrong when Taslima Nasreen wants to speak at an event in a Congress ruled state and other people come and disrupt her program over there. That is also wrong, but that's not something you will speak about. That is the problem. The selectivism. Where is the pluralism?
And we must, India is a mature democracy and we must protect everybody's right to speak. As the famous quote of Voltaire possibly said so, that I may not agree with what you say, but I will defend your right to say till my death.
So exactly the point on which you should have supported Mohan Bhagwat ji because he's speaking and he has the right to speak in New York, and Mr. Mamdani is doing no favor because he has no jurisdiction. But Pradeep Bhandari, India is a mature democracy, says Somnath Bharti. Where is the maturity in the democracy if they are drawing parallels between Mamdani's views and their own?
Well, Navika ji, at the outset, Mr. Somnath Bharti speaks about tolerance, where his own leader, Mr. Kejriwal, could not tolerate leaders in the Aam Aadmi Party who spoke their mind, whether it is Swati Maliwal or whether it is Ashutosh now, who is a political analyst. I'll come to the moot point. See, Navika ji, a fundamentalist, whether a fundamentalist wears a suit or becomes a headmaster or becomes a doctor, still remains a fundamentalist, and that's the bare truth that all of us have to accept. So the school of thought which he represents is a pluralistic secular school of thought, where there is a letter which is written from a mastermind of Delhi riots, which is Umar Khalid. There is a letter which is... See, Navika ji, I have been listening patiently to 40 minutes. If the Aam Aadmi Party guy is interrupting my, chain of thoughts, it will it will be a injustice to the viewers. Mr. Bharti, please allow me to make my point.
Somnath Bharti ji, Punjab elections में अभी time है, थोड़ा सुन भी लीजिए.
You should not have said a word about Kejriwal generally.
Oh, you are allowed to say anything about Modi,
Mr. Bharti,
but they are not allowed to speak about Kejriwal. Wow, what a constitution and what freedom of speech.
Definition of Mamdani freedom of speech.
State facts, sir.
Navika ji.
Okay, All right. But I'll tell you facts that the opposition has said. Somnath Bharti, please allow Pradeep Bhandari. Pradeep.
Those who live in Shishmahal never understand the truth. This is why they've been voted out of power in Delhi. Let me come to the moot point. A fundamentalist, whether a fundamentalist is in a suit or a headmaster or a doctor, continues to be a fundamentalist even if the fundamentalist occupies an executive position. The gentleman here is known as a track record of backing quote-unquote terror sympathizers. The man wrote a love letter to Umar Khalid, who's the mastermind of anti-Hindu Delhi riot. He comes from school of thought where his father supported suicide bomber. He comes from school of thought where his entire ecosystem speaks about dismantling global Hindutva. His pluralistic and secular school of thought is such where Kashmiri Hindus, when they are lynched, they are completely silenced and tight-lipped. It is unfortunate that a man who represents the far ultra-left, which far ultra-left believes in dismantling institutions, creates anarchy at the cost of democracy, is becoming a poster boy of the Congress party, and none of the senior leaders of the Congress party is openly calling out this rabid fundamentalist. Now, to look at a parallel, Nawaz Sharif was called out Prime Minister at that time, Manmohan Singh as Dehati. It was Prime Minister Narendra Modi as the Chief Minister at that time speaking against Nawaz Sharif. That is what constitutional maturity is. But unfortunately, Congress party today is in the hands of Dimagi Naxals, and these Dimagi Naxals believe in dismantling institutions and believe in creating anarchy and have poster boys of individuals who speak against organizations which are patriotic and inclusive.
Absolutely. Faizan Kidwai, I want to ask, when the opposition
against individuals who speak against Indians outside.
Well, I just want to ask Faizan Kidwai, why are lies treated and put out almost as if they are facts? There are opposition leaders who come out and say that the RSS is a banned organization. Where is it banned? Is it banned in the US? Should the opposition leaders be more responsible rather than to spread fake news, apart from spreading the kind of hate they do? If you have a right to speak, why does Mr. Mohan Bhagwat not have a right to speak is the basic moot question that I want to ask. And why would you depend on somebody who's actually been a terror sympathizer? The examples out there, I've quoted them.
Good evening, Navika. Good evening to you and to the fellow panelists. Navika, first of all, wish you a very happy Women Equality Day. And unfortunately, the urban Naxals gave Ram Rahim parole again yesterday. So this speaks volumes about how much their commitment is towards providing security and dignity to women in our country. And as we all know that it was these people who gave bail to try to reduce the sentence or completely do away the sentence of those who raped Bilkis Bano. Chill, buddy, chill for a moment. Abhi aur de raha hu. Just chill.
Known for backing rapists.
Right. Since you spoke about, I'll digress. Since you are digressing, let me digress a bit. So this is Balesh Dhangar, the man who was associated with Narendra Modi, Australian wing head. He used to drug and rape women videotape associated with Modi. So chill for a moment and let me don't break my thread of thought. You were getting very worked up. Don't do the same to me. Chill.
Okay, calm down. Faizan Kidwai has come in the end. Pradeep Bhandari, hold on. I'll give you time to rebut.
Pradeep, don't vomit nonsense because that's what you people have been trained to do. So go and vomit somewhere else here. So chill for a moment. Okay, so Navika, since the person from chill, Maria.
Nonsense. That is emergency.
Yeah, this is nonsense because you were talking nonsense. Okay, really. See, you were getting very worked up when somebody rejected. Okay, so Navika, since
go ahead.
Navika, now this is not done. Navika,
speak your nonsense.
Navika, this is not done.
Pradeep,
see, first
Pradeep,
Navika,
just be fair. Allow him to speak. He's come in at the end.
Go ahead.
Please.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so Navika, the thing is, the person from organizer is sitting here. Let me remind him of something. Do you remember this phrase? Those who have come to power by the kick of fate may give hands the tricolour, but it will never be respected by or owned by the Hindus. This is what your organizer published, and it said this Tiranga is evil because this three colors are evil, and it said that this constitution doesn't belong to us. This is Western inspired from West, and it will have a very cumbersome effect on the minds of individuals. It was your Golwarkar who wrote that in We and Our Nationhood Defined bunch of thoughts. He said he kind of gave legitimacy to the ethnic cleansing that happened in Nazi Germany against the Jews, and said the same standard should be followed for the minorities in India. So a terrorist organization should not lecture others. Okay, Navika, there's one more thing.
Okay, so you're calling the RSS a terrorist organization. Prafulla Ketkar has a right to rebut. No, Prafulla Ketkar has a right to rebut, and he will rebut you on this one. 1 minute, Prafulla Ketkar.
I will quote your manifesto where you said all the terror victims will be given legal assistance.
Nobody
all
said.
the people
Nobody
of
said.
particular
You are
religion will be
delusional.
released.
See,
That was
you are
mentioned
still
in your
licking the
manifesto.
lollipop of Manila and our dynasty organizations on which the RSS was modeled. No, Navika, you cannot do this, Navika. You have to let me complete my point, Navika.
Don't divert.
Navika,
Don't
to hell
divert.
with Mamdani.
Okay.
Who's Mamdani? We're not
you-
talking about Mamdani. Navika,
No, but Faizan
Navika.
Kidwai, it was the Samajwadi Party government that was pulled up by the Allahabad High Court for letting off terrorists. People accused in terror cases.
Navika, we just said that those who are innocent should not be punished, because you also know, Navika, very recently the honorable courts, the high courts of Delhi, they said regarding listening to the cases of rioting cases when there were riots in Delhi, that majority of the cases seem fabricated. Police is giving wrong information just so that they can accuse people from a certain community. This was the observation of the honorable court, and there was an observation by an honorable judge who wanted FIR registered against this Anurag
But there are
Thakur.
many
He was
people
transferred
who
there
have
very
been
exactly.
convicted as well.
Navika,
You know,
Navika,
that is the problem. The selectivism in the voting. No, that's because you are selective. You can't be given a carte blanche. Sushant wants to come in. Prafulla wants to come in. Pradeep Bhandari. Sushant, to you first. Prafulla coming to you.
I'm waiting to
So,
see.
Navika, on first principles, a couple of points. So, why is it necessary for everybody to agree with Gandhiji? Gandhiji has quirks. He had a certain wackiness about him. For example, on industrial policy, on a range of other things. I don't have to agree with him. I can be critical of him. Why do I have to agree with him on anything? I might have political, ideological, or other differences. That is part of my freedom of speech. You can't say freedom of speech is limited only if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, then I will label you as something else, a terrorist or whatever else. One. Secondly, the same thing applies to the quote which Mr. Kidwai was giving right now. Whether I agree with what the gentleman, wrote or said, the fact of the matter remains that it is the right of any organization to oppose something. They could have opposed and many people actually believe the Constitution of India is nothing but a hand-me-down of the 1935 Government of India Act, and that this is a constitution which was not written according to the genius of Indian people. The point is, whether I agree with that or I disagree with that, I have to live under the Constitution until I can change it, or I say it's fine, it works for me. It's worked for me for 80 years, it will work for me more. Just because somebody has a different point of opinion, you can't say that because he held a certain point of opinion, he's a terrorist or he's an extremist. And finally...
Absolutely, and that's what Faizan Kidwai did when the Allahabad High Court on the 2012 Varanasi serial blast case, the Allahabad High Court said, today you are withdrawing cases against terrorists, tomorrow will you give them Padma Bhushan? I'm quoting the Allahabad High Court, Faizan Kidwai.
Madam, you know the person who's responsible for killing Graham Staines and his children. That person was given an MP seat by Bharatiya Janata Party. I'm forgetting his name, but he's still in Bharatiya Janata Party.
Explain your record? Why are you only pointing figures?
Navika, there's one more thing to Mr. Sareen. He's a very reasonable individual. Mr. Sareen says, if you disagree, would you just please tell me, is it just a matter of disagreement that Golwalkar was promoting ethnic cleansing on the lines of what happened to Nazis, what happened to Jews in Nazi Germany? Is that also something you should brush away?
Prafulla Ketkar wants to come in. Prafulla Ketkar, please respond. Please respond to Faizan Kidwai, all other figures down.
See, the simple thing is, one, Hindutva as a thought, as a philosophy, believes fundamentally that all ways of worship are true and should be respected. It, as Swami Vivekananda said, it is not just tolerance. We don't propagate tolerance. We say acceptance and respect. The problem is the people who say my way is the only way, shouldn't we talk to? And I will quote here Golwalkar Guruji. He had an interview with an Iranian journalist when he was asked specific question, and he didn't ever support any kind of ethnic cleansing, as Mr. SP spokesperson is saying. He should quote the page number. Don't spread the lie. The first person to label this, the first person to label this is basically the first person to label this was J.J. Karan. A person from Australia in 1951 coined this entire facade, calling RSS and Hindu philosophy as militant, revisionist, fundamentalist, and fascist. These four terms he coined. For the last 75 years,
I don't think anybody has the right to point fingers or condemn any other religion, and that's not what this effort is all about. If Mohan Bhagwat ji is in the US talking about oneness, universal acceptance.
What is this oneness? What are you talking about oneness? First of all, this is not a cultural event. This is an artist-made political event.
So are you saying he does not have the right to hold a public meeting? You will decide that.
Of course he has. But he's saying this is about oneness, Navika. There is nothing about oneness.
The opposition in India will decide what can Mohan Bhagwat ji do or not do. Now that is the constitutional freedom that they are talking about. The US government does not have a problem. They are given a visa. All permissions of these events have been given. But Faizan Kidwai will decide here. Pradeep Bhandari, no, you hold on. No, you don't yield. I'm lowering your fader. Pradeep will respond. I don't have endless time for you. Pradeep.
Navika ji, the frustration with Faizan is that he knows that when his leader will go to United States of America, not even 2,000 people will come, and there are 2 lakh Indians who will be listening to Adaniya Sanchalak ji. He is not the gatekeeper of freedom of expression. Everybody has a right to express freedom of expression. That is what the constitution teaches us, but they do not follow it. But let me just expose fake news. Waliullah Khan was a terrorist in Varanasi blast case. The Akhilesh Yadav government pleaded for his innocence. Shameen Ahmed alias Sarfraz was a terrorist in Varanasi blast case, was convicted, and the Akhilesh Yadav government said that he is innocent. Karim Kazmi was convicted in 2007 UP court blast case, and you had the Akhilesh Yadav government pleading for his mercy. Khalid Mujahideen 2007 UP blast case, again a terrorist, Akhilesh Yadav wanted to declare him as innocent. Akhtar 2007 UP court blast case, again a terrorist convicted by the Allahabad High Court, and Akhilesh Yadav appealed that he should be released and the cases should be withdrawn. Not just appeal, cases should be withdrawn. And the man who said that Guruji Golwalkar is speaking.
That is where the problem is. That is where the problem is. And Zohran Mamdani, Indian American, Indian origins that he speaks about, and yet condemns India. When he's an American, he doesn't even follow what America does. Case in point, Muhammad Khalil. What the American government is doing and what Mamdani is saying is completely different. Is it once again, just appeasement, vote bank politics that is being done by Mamdani there and used by the opposition here? That is the question. Those who talk about the constitution, those who talk about freedom of speech, when they lose their perspective on others using their freedom of speech, clearly there is a red flag that must be called out. And we did a survey. Opposes RSS, backs a Hamas backer and Umar Khalid. Mamdani, is he being exclusionary? Well, yes, say 91% of the people, no, say 8%, don't have a view, 1%. 91% people believe Mamdani is the one preaching pluralism, behaving exclusionary. Our opposition leaders, well, you and I and all of us are part of India. We are Indians. That's what joins us together. Don't be exclusionary to another Indian. That's all. That's all that I have to say at this point in time. Think of other ways to oppose the government, the BJP, the RSS, but not when somebody is being banned in a foreign land. He's an Indian first, anything else later. We leave it at that. Thank you very much to all my panelists joining me on debate number 1.